U.S. President Donald Trump appears to allow Ukraine to attack Russia as the U.S.-led peace talks to end the war have not yielded any results so far. In a post on Truth Social on Thursday, Trump acknowledged Russia's invasion of Ukraine and said Kyiv had no chance but fight back. It is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense, but is not allowed to play offense. There is no chance of winning. It is like that with Ukraine and Russia, Trump wrote. He went on to blame former U.S. President Joe Biden for the ongoing war in Ukraine. Crooked and grossly incompetent Joe Biden would not let Ukraine fight back, only defend. How did that work out? Regardless, this is a war that would have never happened if I were president, zero chance. Interesting times ahead. Trump concluded. The comments mark a major shift in Trump's policy towards the Russia-Ukraine war. It should be noted that during Joe Biden's presidency, Ukraine was not authorized to launch long-range missiles deep into Russia. Bringing prominent White House support to the streets of Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Wednesday visited with National Guard troops at the city's main train station as protesters chanted, "Free D.C." The latest tense interlude from President Donald Trump's crackdown in the nation's capital. "You can bring law and order to communities," the vice president asserted. "We appreciate everything you're doing," Vance said as he presented burgers to the troops. Protesters' shouts echoed through the station as the senior officials spoke to the National Guard present. According to Associated Press, the appearance, which also included White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, was a striking scene that illustrated the Republican administration's intense focus on the situation in Washington and its willingness to promote an initiative that has polarized the Democratic-led city.
So I want to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence and by disorder and by chaos. You can actually do stuff. You can actually bring law and order to communities. You've just got to have the political willpower to do it. But I'll tell you, a couple of years ago when I brought my kids here, they were being screamed at by violent vagrants, and it was scaring the hell out of my kids. And one of the things that we've done already in Union Station in just 9 days is we've made it a place where people can walk around safely. They can bring their kids again. They can see this beautiful monument, the architecture. They can have a meal with their friends and their loved ones because, again, we brought some law and order back to Washington, D.C. Hey guys, at ease. Good to see you all. Come here. So, we decided to bring the Secretary of Defense and Stephen Miller to bring you guys some burgers. So we appreciate everything that you're doing. So, you guys bust your ass all day, we give you a hamburger. Not a fair trade, but we're grateful for everything you guys do.
And when I talk to all of them, Stephen, we've all had a chance to talk to them, they're proud of this mission. They're proud to be a part of making sure law and order is established here in the Capitol. We're resourcing them with everything they need, working with our law enforcement partners. So the National Guard, the Defense Department is proud to be standing with you and the President in ensuring we have a safe Capitol that is beautiful, that residents can come visit. We're committed to this mission just like the one at the southern border and in Los Angeles.
And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they are raising in this city, they have no one that they are sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital.
But if the President of the United States thinks that he has to extend this order to ensure that people have access to public safety, then that's exactly what he'll do. If he thinks he doesn't have to do that, obviously he'll make that determination. But what we're going to do is try to empower these guys to do as good of a job as possible to bring public safety and order back to Washington, D.C. Where are you from? Oh, great. Okay, awesome. We'll make sure you get a copy.
Yeah, we'll get a copy. Okay. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Got it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Crime statistics manipulated by the DC police.
Well, I think that crime statistics all over our country were massively underreported because a lot of people would pick up the phone, they'd call somebody, they'd try to get help, and nobody would show up. Oh, I already said hello to you. Hey, guys, how you doing? I'm highly skeptical that a majority of D.C. residents don't want their city to have better public safety and more reasonable safety standards within Washington, D.C. I don't know what poll you're talking about. Maybe the same polls that said Kamala Harris would win the popular vote by 10 points. Nice to meet you. So where are y'all from? South Carolina. Okay, so pretty much everybody's in South Carolina. Okay, Charleston. Good to meet you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
A relative of State Duma deputy from the party of Russian ruler Vladimir Putin has died in the war in Ukraine. According to the pro-Kremlin outlet RBC, Alexander Milanov, brother of United Russia Party's deputy Vitaly Milanov, serving in Luhansk Oblast, has been eliminated by Ukrainian troops. As of 2025, over 95% of Luhansk Oblast remains under Russian occupation. Euromaidan Press recalls. The region's infrastructure is almost entirely destroyed, with most residential buildings damaged or ruined, and water, electricity, and mobile communications operate intermittently. Russian occupiers forcibly issue passports to locals to maintain strict control over communities. He had volunteered for reconnaissance with the so-called LNR, the Russian-backed entity illegal in Ukraine. Alexander Milanov had been fighting against Ukraine for over a year. During the battles, he was wounded and transferred to medical service, another Russian propaganda outlet, Fontanka, reports. However, it is reported that his injuries caused a sudden deterioration in his health. After being wounded, Milanov was hospitalized, but his condition worsened and he died. His funeral took place on August the 19th at a cemetery in the Pushkin district of St. Petersburg. Recall dozens of wealthy Russians, including members of President Vladimir Putin's inner circle, fled the country in the early days of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The independent media outlet Proect reported earlier 49 of the 200 Russian businessmen on Forbes' list of billionaires left Russia in late February and March of 2022, according to Proect's analysis of leaked border crossing data. Some departed even before the invasion, when Putin recognized the independence of the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics on February the 21st. Several of those who left had attended the famous meeting in the Kremlin on the first day of the war, where Putin urged top business executives and heads of state-owned companies to understand what is happening. Nearly one-third of the billionaires who fled, 17 in total, went to the United Arab Emirates. 5 traveled to Switzerland, 5 to Turkey, 4 to France, and 3 to Cyprus. According to the leaked data, some of Putin's closest associates were among the first to leave. Putin's inner circle, or their relatives who go to war in Ukraine, usually don't return alive.